Hello, I'm Ed Freeman. I've been doing data science since really about the mid 90s. Back then it was called knowledge discovery and databases. Since then it's been called machine learning, data mining, now data science. And with everything that's changed in the field, it's amazing how the real fundamentals haven't changed at all. Now, today, I want to start talking about the kind of skills that I picked up in my career. First off, let's talk about operating systems. Job control system, started on that. Unix, Windows, Hadoop. Unix has been the big one, with a couple of flavors like Mac and Solaris. Solaris was a bit weird. They changed all of the commands just a little bit to be annoying. Now, languages. A whole bunch. What I'm working on right now is Python SQL. I used to be using SAS a whole lot, Perl a whole lot, C Shell a whole lot, and I want to get into this more, but don't use them anymore, haven't touched them. And then there's R. I use it a little bit. It's just easier to use Python. Toolkits. All kinds of toolkits. Right now I'm working in the Google Cloud using Tableau and Jupyter. A couple things. Decision series, DSIQ. It's kind of a pain when I spend years learning how to use a proprietary system for a company I'm working at, and then the company goes out of business and no more proprietary system. It happens. Databases. All SQL, every one of them just a little bit different in how they do queries. Like Hive. Hive has a weird thing that it does joins first, then the where clause. So that means if I put the conditions in a where clause that'll work in lots of things, Hive will first make a Cartesian join, then apply the where clause, and that'll crash most servers. So you got to understand the details of what you're working on. Modeling and prediction. A lot of these are much of a muchness. You get the data you're trying to predict with, you get what you're trying to predict. You've got things about keeping them separate, testing, training, validation, data sets, all that stuff. Belief networks are interesting, that there's not one thing you're trying to predict, but everything put together in a network. And deep learning is its own mess, glorious mess. Right now, what I care about a lot is deep graph learning, how to apply deep learning to graph data structures. And other techniques, I really want to do a whole talk on clustering. Clustering tends to get treated as like a garbage collection. Garbage in, business magic out. No, you have to really care a lot about what you're doing. A/B testing also is a big thing. The math itself, the stats is pain dead simple. It's a t-test. But doing it right in your environment, in a dynamic environment, and in a business environment, there are whole books on that. Other tools. Don't laugh. I know data science on Excel is kind of a joke, at least it is to me. But Excel, Word, PowerPoint, they're all powerful tools if you know how to use them and really can get their full breadth out of them. Emacs. I have a great fondness for Emacs, if nothing else because programmers tend to get Google-eyed when I tell them I use Emacs and not VI. Now, soft skills. Active listening, empathy, simplification, dejargonization. What I'm working on now a lot is intentional energy. If I'm coming into a meeting with people, what kind of energy do I bring to the meeting? Especially, can I bring empathy and active listening to a potentially hostile situation? I wanted to give an example of active listening. There was a project, I was with a group working on it. We were building marketing models over the whole US, targeted on things like demographics, econometrics, that kind of stuff. So what happened was the client was insisting on zip code be in the model. No, absolute zip code be in the model. And that actually was going to cause a lot of flummoxing. Just the way we were doing things, having zip code, suffice to say, it would have caused a lot of trouble. Until I realized that no, the client did not need zip code in the model. The client needed the results to be applied at the zip code level. And once we got that worked out, what could have been a project killer became a very easy to satisfy requirement. A bit about dejargonization. How to say something without jargon. Like, if I'm going to be looking at residuals, well, I don't say I'm looking at residuals. Who knows what that is? I mean, we do, but I say, well, I start off with looking at somebody's usage patterns, and I pull out the information at that, and I see what's left. And are there big patterns around after I pull out the stuff that we know about? Let's see, it's stuff I don't have, honestly. Production code writing. Production code writing really is a whole set of skills about how to do exception handling, how to write really well, solid object-oriented code structures. You'll notice that I don't have an IDE on here. For me, IDEs aren't that valuable. Jupyter is great. Analytic environments are great. Dev environments, not so much. I once had a coder I was working with kind of blow a gasket and make me install an IDE just so I could copy files from one directory to another. And, oh, by the way, if you're ever hiring a data scientist, ask them what they can't do. If they are not able to answer that question, they don't know the full field, frankly. Now, I want to get down to the upshot. That's 52 skills in 27 years, not quite 2 a year. Now, I'm constantly learning all the time, constantly looking for new things to learn, and I'm also constantly tossing stuff. SAS, I was using that for decades, not anymore. The decision series that I'd worked on for years, not anymore. It happens. I'm never going to learn everything, and that's just part of what we're doing. Right now, one thing I'm looking at is learning better leadership skills, how to lead people. And lastly, if you're going to be in this field, live for the learning curve. Never stop, never let yourself be put in a box. Always keep going. Anyway, thanks a lot. Talk to you again. Bye.